What's up, everybody? My name's Jay Schaefer. I'm the writer and director of Short-Sighted, the short film. Before I even get into what this video is about, I highly encourage everybody to check the link down below to watch the full unedited version of Short-Sighted, if you haven't already, that is. Now, if you have, what you're about to watch is a special feature of Short-Sighted that we like to call the commentary version. Basically, what this is going to be is Short-Sighted in its full entirety, but at a much lower volume, with a voiceover on top of it. Basically, what you're going to hear is myself and my director of photography, Jose Albin, go into detail about what went into the film. Hopefully, what you can take away from this is gain a little bit of a personal perspective of what goes into making a film, and ultimately what makes it fun, what makes it exciting, where things can go wrong, and what it takes to make things a reality when it comes to filmmaking. There's a whole lot of things that we go into detail about. Some of them, like, we kind of remember things that happened on set that we had forgotten about until we talked about it here. So super interesting. It was a lot of fun. I'd like to thank Jose a lot for actually bringing this idea up to me. And maybe in the future, we kind of briefly mentioned it in this. There is a blooper reel of Short-Sighted that exists, and I'm really debating releasing it. I'm not sure if I want to do it yet, but if you'd like to, make sure you let me know, either in the comment section down below or on social media, however you want to do it. Let me know. I think it'd be really entertaining to release that too. I'm just kind of on the fence about it still. So anyways, without further ado, here's the commentary version of Short-Sighted. Alright everyone, welcome to the commentary edition of Short-Sighted. This is Jay Schaefer speaking, the writer and director of Short-Sighted.
And I'm Jose Albin, the director of photography.
And we're going to just kind of dive headfirst into this and see what happens. So before even getting, let's talk about these insert shots at the beginning here, because I know for a fact that I wrote these on the shot list that I had prepared to make sure we didn't forget, because that's something I personally at least always forget, is to film insert shots for titles.
I think everyone forgets.
Yeah, it's just the last thing you think about on a big shoot, and
you got so much going on at the same time.
Exactly. But
forget.
at the end of, but we literally got to the end of the shoot and everyone left, and then I remembered. So all of these insert shots were composed from just me and you, Jose.
And I think Megan was in a few of them. Megan, she changed.
Yeah, she changed and she was ready to leave, but we had her like walk across the floor for one of them. So, but every person that's in the background primarily is just me. So that's my little cameo in Short-Sighted here.
Okay, so if we meet the CSC around noon, we should have enough time to get between there and the airport. Are you listening? Chris!
I love the lighting too. Like, I love how we lit the bar scene more than any other scene we did. We really went all out for it, and I think it really paid off.
Yeah.
At some point.
Chris, this is not a big
It's just like the little things too that you just don't notice. Like underneath the bar, you see like the little LED lights that are there.
I don't know why.
It's so little. No one thinks about it.
No, you really don't. I like the cooler in the background too, because that was something I think you and Brendan did, and I saw it lit, but because the problem is that cooler isn't lit at all, so it just was like dead space. But we stuck an LED on the ground and just shined it up at it, and it looks like it's lit up, and it's.
Oh wait, was it on the ground?
Yeah, it was on the ground.
I thought we stuck it inside.
No, it was on the ground. Like my big LED panel that we had, we just literally propped it on the ground facing upwards with some diffusion on it, and made it cool, and it looks like it's lit, and it's super nice.
I remember putting stuff in there, but I could have sworn it was inside.
No, I think we tried to put it inside.
We tried.
It didn't work. It didn't work like
it
we
like
wanted
wouldn't
it to.
close all the way, and then you could tell that it was like open.
Right.
Yeah, my sport ball thing.
Poor Anthony.
Every year I say I'm not going to.
This guy struggled a lot with remembering the script, but there's a reason, because you reminded me that this entire opening scene,
the whole thing had another character in there interacting with Megan and Anthony.
Correct. There was a third character supposed to be a part of this, and the script that they both memorized for months had this character that unfortunately had to back out the day before we filmed. And so me, in a panicked state, tried to reach out to every person that I knew that could possibly do it, and no one could do it.
We were in chem lab together.
It was probably easy. Like, and that's when you texted me and you were like, "Hey, I don't exactly sure. I'm not sure how to rewrite it and stuff.
I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do. I was like, we need to do something. I was like, we need to approach this somehow. And you in a car, like on your way like to Michigan, you said?
Yes, I was going to Michigan with my family.
Yeah.
And I got his text, and I was like, oh god, like it could be done, but like I don't have a computer in front of me, so I ended up downloading the Celtics app.
Literally did it on your phone.
And I just did it on my phone, and I was like, okay, like just what is the goal of this scene? And, okay, she's working on this, whatever, and then just rewrote the whole thing. And made it seem like they were preparing for like a big trip, like a
Some kind of business trip.
Yeah.
But it ended up, I think, really enhancing the dynamic between Megan and Anthony a lot more, and honestly I like it a lot better. Up until you had mentioned it to me just a few minutes ago, I completely forgot that we even did that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we ended it. Was kind of just like a blessing in disguise a little bit, you know what I mean? I'm glad that it went the way that it did.
Bartender.
There he is,
There he is,
Pull one stat.
Kevin Carney.
the man of the hour.
Yep.
Guess he's working for a real good tip.
Come on, Chris, let's just go. He doesn't want to drink.
What's your deal, man?
Nothing, dude.
You afraid to talk to people? Afraid of a little socialization?
You need to stop.
Don't you like to have any fun?
I guess not.
You just come into the bar and sit by yourself and twiddle your thumbs?
Chris, stop.
Nah, I bet you he sits at home and watches soaps all day.
Chris!
What, Daddy never raised you right?
Dude! Leave me alone!
Look what you did. Look what you did!
No, it's fine. Chris, go sit down.
How many times did we shoot this?
That specifically, like him getting up and
I guess just this whole sequence in general, because this was the part where you wanted to have like as much coverage as possible. So you could cut to it to make it seem very like quick and jarring.
I'm glad that we had all the coverage we did, because there was a lot of things that didn't cut very seamlessly together at all.
I love this shot.
How are you?
I like that too.
Like
You watch him
where
walk out.
it's like when you spill something and you just like stare at the whole thing and you see the mess it made. And I kind of like that because it like lingers on that, and you see like he started this bar fight, and then everyone's just leaving. You know, like it's not quickly
The
cutting,
tension's
but it's
there,
just the tension,
and it
just, like,
holds.
yeah,
It holds like it needs to.
Who's that guy?
They drank a lot of iced tea that day.
They sure did. They sure did. This was the first time Anthony ever experienced apple juice and Sprite, and he actually said he very much enjoyed it. So I'm glad our fake beer could work out pretty well.
So I think from this sequence onward, it was you shot this, right?
I shot
Yeah,
all
you
this.
shot
Yep,
all
I
that.
did. And actually, Jordan here walking outside of the building, this was something we also almost kind of sort of forgot to do. It was something we almost didn't want to do because it was such a long day. But
It's just him walking out.
yeah, just him walking out right there. And then this entire sequence where he's walking was shot on a completely other day. So something interesting about Short-Sighted in general was like the production phase of it in general was super, super non-traditional.
It was like it was literally backwards.
Yeah, we literally shot everything. Like the bar scene was the last thing we shot. This walking scene was shot like insert shots in between trips because everybody was traveling from so far away, and we couldn't get the entire crew together at all times.
Well, the whole production actually took several months to do.
It did,
and that
'cause
was
we-
only because there was a few months in which there was nothing.
we
to
shot
do.
probably once a month. We shot once in
Yeah.
April, once in May, and then the bar scene was in August.
August.
And then I think the walking scene and the other insert shots were all done in July sometime.
Mm-hmm.
It just worked out best that way, but I was just praying it still cut seamlessly and it actually made sense
It
later.
did, yeah.
And it does.
It
And it does.
Does he come here often?
There he is again. I'm just gonna keep making jokes about Casey Cants the whole time.
His old man used to come in here quite a bit back in the day.
His dad?
Yeah, he'd come in here after work. Sometimes
Everyone out there needs to know there's an amazing blooper reel that exists that I just haven't released yet, and
You just keep teasing that.
I'm gonna
out,
keep
and you're
teasing
not-
it just
yeah.
to make people want it more. But I'll release it eventually, one day. And I think that's something great, like really important for especially like young filmmakers taking away from anything is like, even though like Short-Sighted is a perfect example, like it's a very depressing and like serious topic, but the element of filmmaking is always a process. It's always an important,
Yes.
it's always a thing that you're supposed to ultimately try to have fun with because you're doing it for that reason.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, ultimately, everyone's just like they're working together. They're like
Yeah.
building off each other.
if
and
you have
don't
the
wanna-
if you have the right crew, people who are there want to be there.
Yes.
And they're there for the experience, and they're there for fun and enjoy it. Enjoy every element of it.
and you don't want to create like an environment in which we're shooting a drama. Like everything has to be like
Take it
dark-
seriously.
take it seriously,
No,
like, dark and
because
dour
then
and
things
stuff.
won't get done well, and
Right.
people won't be on your side the whole time. You know what I
it's
mean?
the best steak tips in town.
Best steak tips in town. That's still a reoccurring
It's,
joke to this day, everybody.
Did Sandy bring me the mail today?
That's my mom also. Another funny story, talking about actors and actresses kind of backing out. Will's mom was also originally supposed to be played by somebody entirely different.
that's right.
And rather than the day before, this was the day
It
of.
was like an
the
hour
shoot.
before we shot
Yeah.
her scene.
My actress woke up sick, like really, really sick, and she just wasn't up for it. And this being shot in my my grandmother's house at the time, my grandmother's trailer. My mom lived right up the street, so I just kind of called my mom. I was like, "Mom, take your makeup off, throw a bandana on your head, and get down here. Like, you don't have a choice."
She killed it.
And she
too.
did. She's also she did like one of the best jobs I think out of everybody else.
I
in
think
here.
what was it during the premiere? Is that not Casey? Yeah, I think it was.
It was
Casey.
Casey.
who
This
asked-
wasn't the premiere. This was like one of the first times we screened it, like the
That's
first
right,
rough
the first
draft.
screening, yeah.
Casey was so mind blown. He's like, "Where'd you find her? Who is
Yeah,
this
like,
woman?
who's this actress?"
She's amazing. Like, who is she?" And I was like, "That's my mom." And he didn't believe me. He didn't believe me at all. But I was like, "Yeah, that's my mom." And she wasn't even supposed to do this.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
You can see the light cord hanging up there on top right.
Oh, you can, I didn't
Can you
even
see
notice,
it?
No.
Wait for it. It'll come back up. Oh, you don't see it here. Oh, the extras in the background.
They're the owners.
That's Maria. She's was the previous owner of the establishment, and her daughter. And they were kind of just waiting for us to be done, and they were just hanging out in the background, and they ended up being extras. So
What a wonderful woman.
what a wonderful woman.
She
She
provided
fed us.
crafty that day.
yeah, she fed like a giant pot of what was it? What did she
It
give
was
us?
like risotto or something. I don't know what it was. It was like some Alfredo maybe. It was a lot of pasta. I remember that because I took a ton of it home.
I know it
afterward.
was really, really good. She gave us salad too and coffee.
Salad, coffee, bread. Like
She was the mom on set, and she took care of us.
she was
And
she was happy to be like a part. She was more than happy to do it.
absolutely
Like, she
eternally grateful for you.
Oh, yeah.
Maria. Absolutely eternally grateful.
We did this scene like 30 times.
Oh my god, this scene. Casey Kantz couldn't write a number on a napkin and hand it to Megan. This took so long, and I still don't know why. We even tried to ask him, like, what's so hard about it? He's like, I don't know, I just can't do it.
Unnatural to me, I think he said. We were
Yeah,
like,
it's just-
what? Like,
I still don't get it. I still don't. But
And you.
we got it, eventually.
Got it.
that was a fisheye, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Separate camera.
Cam.
Different camera. I had to put it on a little mirrorless camera because our camera wouldn't fit. Gotta keep your fluids up.
Thanks, honey.
Can I just talk about those mirrors on the wall? It
How
was
much of a pain they
so
were.
hard.
Yeah.
Because people who were behind the camera couldn't be behind the camera. They had
Either
to leave the room.
Behind or
Literally in
even
between the mirrors.
Just, or
It
even
was
just lights that we used. We couldn't
Everything.
Everything had to be like adjusted.
Yeah. It was an endless issue, but we
I do like the shot.
worked around it. So did I. This was a random filler shot that you just filmed just because.
Yeah.
But it ended up working so well. See the shadow of the tripod in that?
Yeah. Nope, didn't notice it until now.
These little things that no one would ever notice unless someone pointed it out, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm pointing it all out right now. This might ruin the film,
Well,
but it's fine.
an LED light on the corner there.
Yep.
That's your. I think that's the same one we used for the refrigerator.
It
in the bar
was.
scene.
Sure was. This is still one of my favorite scenes. Let's talk about the music real quick too. Rob
Oh,
Kozletsky, dude. This guy is so talented, and I got introduced to him on a whim, like a mutual, like the husband of a coworker and a friend of Megan's. And like, oh, well, there's this guy, he makes music, maybe you'll like him. And I listened to some of his stuff, and he was so good. And he was just another person that was just happy and excited to be a part of the crew and gave it his all. And he tolerated my constant changes. Thank God for him for being so patient with me. But he did such a good job with the music throughout this entire film. Wonderful people too, by the way.
Everyone involved in the
Everyone
production
involved was
just,
such
they were
wonderful
so-
people.
I think, what was it, take 2, in which Jordan actually broke the drawer?
It was probably like take
Like,
8.
You think it was take 8?
He did it a lot.
It was like, it was sooner. Like, it was like
It might have been. It's an old dresser, and those. By the way, real quick, that's my parents. that's a photo of both my parents. But yeah, no, Jordan was slamming the drawer, and maybe on like the second or third time he slammed it, he broke the drawer apart. So we had to just try to hope that he knocked that picture frame over, and then before the drawer ultimately completely fell apart, we got the shot. So thank God for that. I had to go back later with some liquid nails and fix it. This was also a pickup shot right here. We didn't film this the day we filmed inside the house. I filmed this, I believe. The shot in the mirror here, which I also ended up really liking.
I do like how she keeps rolling her sleeves down.
Yeah, we were real good about making sure that she didn't unintentionally reveal her wrists too early, because we wanted that to ultimately be a surprise. Spoiler alert, but yeah, so we wanted to kind of give off the element that like she's hiding it constantly, and she's constantly like hiding it from herself almost, and she did a really good job of doing that.
I like the slow push-in on this. It's one of the few times in which I agreed to Jay's constant insistence on using the slider.
I wanted to
that
use
he
the
had.
slider for every shot,
I know.
people, because it just looks so good. But thank God for get yourself a good DP in a film if you're a filmmaker, because he'll tell you whether or not that actually makes sense to use, and that's exactly what Jose did. So thank God.
Might well.
I do like this is probably my favorite lighting in the whole film.
This one? Oh,
yeah, because it was like 2
Just the-
p.m. and we made it look like nighttime.
Plus
And-
that yellow and that blue just really like contrasted well
Yeah.
together. I like how the mom's just in the corner and it's all like, nice and yellow lit, and everything else is just dark
Yep.
around her.
So something else interesting.
It's a whole different house, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
it is. Will, he walks into his room. This is in the same house that Megan is in her house. It's all in the same house, but we filmed it and cut it in such a way to make it look like
Completely
it's all in
different
that he's in his mom's trailer still.
This was the first thing we shot.
And this right here is the very first thing
that
we
was
shot.
the first shot.
Very first shot, yep.
Because this was shot later in the day of that
Yes.
same day.
This whole scene with the phone call was on day 1 of our shoot. That was the first shoot we did.
That was a long day.
That was a long day. It was all day. We shot
Yeah,
this,
yes,
I think,
that
at
was
like
all
this
day,
was
yeah.
at like noon, 12:30 when we
And
shot
we
Will's
ended at,
room.
like midnight.
And it was like midnight when we were done. Yep.
Yeah.
Long day.
What I love about this scene is the set design in the room, because if you go in that room like when it looks normal, a completely different room.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's all like
Oh,
nice and
100%.
organized and everything, and
Yeah.
this just looks lived in.
Uh-huh. And I wanted it to make it look like Will didn't have a bed. Like I wanted it to be like this is just an extra room with a futon and
With a
he's just
futon.
sleeping there. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't have a room, or he doesn't have. And you can see he's trying to make it his own room, but it's a mess and he's disheveled.
There's like
and-
posters and stuff
Yeah.
that are like crooked, and I do like I just noticed the shirt hanging out in the
on the light.
in the
Yep.
lamp.
Yep. Oh, the light flicker.
Yeah.
So, for some reason in my head, to make the light flicker naturally, I was like, okay, we're going to take a piece of string and scotch tape it to the light and loosen the light bulb
that's
and try to
right.
move it, and that'll do it. And we're like, okay, cool. We tried this for like a half hour until we realized you can just take the plug in the outlet.
And kind of plug
and-
it in, like
yeah,
just
and just,
wiggle
like-
your way in there.
Yeah, just fiddle with the outlet. And that was what we ended up doing after trying it with a string for a half hour. I don't know why. Like, I overcomplicated so much with this, especially on day one.
See,
I just was kind of going at it.
That's the good thing about like filmmaking is that you think you have an idea, and then other people are just like, oh, you can do this in a different way.
Yeah.
Get the same effect, just in a
So eye-opening.
yeah, right.
So many ways.
Hello?
Hey,
Who is this?
it's Liv from high school.
Liv?
Remember I said hi to you at the bar earlier?
I like how we lit Will on the phone call, too, a lot. It just looks late.
What do you want?
Like that moonlight just coming in. Yeah.
Did you even get my number?
I feel like it got a little bit darker too, like in a good way. You know, like as soon as you picked up the phone, like either the contrast was a little darker, or maybe the grading was just
Yeah.
a bit darker.
Sorry about that incident at the bar.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about your shirt.
If you look, you can see the scars on her wrist right there.
But
You can, which is fine
No,
because
I didn't
it's
notice
almost
it.
well. See, like originally my thought was like maybe I can try to make a mask and like blur them so they don't get seen. But then I realized it's like you can't do that because then if someone does look, they're gonna wonder where the scars are.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad that we had the scars on her wrists already at this point.
but they're not like.
But they're not in your face, so
Right,
it's like
correct.
if you catch them, you almost wonder what they are, and then eventually, obviously, it reveals what they are.
I'm fine.
You're fine?
Yes.
You don't seem fine to me.
Yes. I'm
Was Megan in the room when this
She
scene
was.
filmed? She was.
And Jordan was
She
in the
feeding
li-
lines?
and, Yep, and Jordan was feeding lines in the living room, and she
Okay.
was on the phone
Don't
too.
you dare call me a liar. I don't need no random girl from high school trying to tell me how I feel.
Will!
Jordan did such a good job
Oh,
right
yeah.
here. And I told him from the very beginning when I introduced the script that it was a really like a powerful, emotional level of just being vulnerable. And he's not that kind of person. He's a very happy, up, go-getter person. So I never saw him in any, even fake, never saw him in this kind of a position, but he knocked it out of the park. He really did such a good job.
I know something's bothering you. Just because you don't show it doesn't mean.
Do we have a slider for that?
For
I
Megan
think
shots?
we did. Yeah.
We didn't use it. We used it when she walked up to the bar.
Just when she walked up.
Yeah, but
Okay.
right here we're static on sticks.
People in this world are ignorant. And sometimes people do not understand that there's always more than meets the eye. It's okay to be vulnerable. I know what it's like when you just want to run away, when you feel like the whole world is against you. And you just want to punch something.
How was the sound design on the phone call conversation?
How was it?
You did design.
I
sound
did.
design
Yeah,
on
I
it.
did all the editing and sound design and everything, and it wasn't awful. It could have been worse. I've worked with
No, I mean
worse.
it turned out good.
Yeah,
but-
I think it worked. That's I didn't have that hard of a time, I don't think either.
Talk to me.
that song was stuck in my head for like a week.
I still love this song. Tell
Oh,
me
it's a
about
good
it.
song. Yeah,
Tell
it's a
me.
good
Well,
song.
no. Let's tell Brendan about that. Brendan had to edit these credits
Oh yeah.
and listen to this song indefinitely.
He eventually got it done.
Oh yeah. Brendan did such a good job though with these.
Oh yeah, he
credits.
did a great job.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, the background to these credits is composed of actual footage from the film. And Brendan just kind of made it into a kaleidoscope. Like the movement, that's people moving. And you can almost tell by the color patterns where they are and what scenes they are. I did ask him to go more of a blue route, just to kind of keep the color tone the same with like the posters we've put
So,
out,
yeah.
like marketing and stuff. Like the gray blue tone is all really good. Shout out to the Farewell Friend for this song too, by the way. He was kind enough to like actually grant permission to use this song. So still not sure if you've seen it, but Hoping he has. So Jose, we're in the credit point here. Let's final thoughts. Things we could have done differently. Things you're happy we accomplished.
Oh, I mean, you always want to do things differently.
Oh, of
but
course.
For the most part, I love how it turned out.
So do I. I'm definitely satisfied and
Yeah.
relieved that it got done the way it did, and I don't regret.
Especially like considering this was, I don't know about you, but this would be like the first short film I've done in a long time.
It was, I mean,
and it was very different. Like
it
going
was the
from the
first
beginning process to
correct.
like, the very end.
It was the first film that I had like a music composer and went and shot on location,
Right.
and had a cast of more than 2 or 3 people and a crew of 10. So it's like it was on a bigger scale that I had ever worked with before, and that being the case, it was a giant learning experience, but super grateful for how it turned out. And yeah, you know what I mean? Obviously everyone wants to do things differently at the end, but that's every project.
Oh
so
yeah, that's every project.
until the next one,
Anything I look at,
you want to do
it's the same
differently.
thing, yeah. But
On to the next.
on to the next one.
My days